Now, although there have been some positives, anyone walking around nowadays without their head up their ass is aware that since the invention and expansion of the internet and social media, there's been a lot of negative effects on humans as a whole. Mental health, the way humans interact with each other, um, physical health, sleep patterns, all these different things. Um, Recently, I was watching an episode of The Tim Dillon Show where he talked about some of these effects of the internet and social media, not just on older people, people 20s, 40s, 60s, but primarily the effects on kids and infants. And there was actually a recent study that he covered that I'm going to go over a little bit more in depth. Um, yeah, let's check it out.
And I look at the people on Facebook. I go, these people are unwell. They're older. They don't know what AI is. They don't know if something's real or fake. They don't know what they're arguing about. There's clearly an AI video of a crocodile eating someone, and they're like, "That's why you got to respect animals, the power of an animal." And it's just, they don't know their lives have been stolen from them. It's sad. It's actually sad. They don't understand what happened. They don't get it. Nothing like this has ever happened before. By the way, they didn't watch their parents do this. This has never happened before, where at the end of your life, there was a technology invented that made you insane. This has never happened. Large swaths of the public have gone, functionally, they're insane. They're lost. They're gone. On every political spectrum, all over the place, doesn't matter. But this has never really happened before, where a playground for your worst ideas and impulses was given to you at the end of your life, when the sharpness of your mind is starting to really wear thin, and you don't know what's going on. And they give you this playground and go, fuck around, have fun, see what happens, learn things. You shouldn't learn things. The learning should stop at a certain age. Now they're all learning about aliens on Facebook. I heard the government was going to come out and tell everybody there was no God. We were created by aliens. How are they going to take that? You know what I mean? That's what I heard was going to happen. I heard from multiple people. I called a couple of people. They go, yeah, I think the government's going to come out and tell everyone there's no God. We were created by aliens. All the world religions are fake, and deal with that. Do with that what you will. Who knows? Now, that didn't happen. I think the government's kind of backed off on that. They're like, well, make your own conclusion. Choose your own adventure. But supposedly that's what they were going to tell everybody. Like, by the way, it's all fake. There's no God. You were created by aliens. I really believe that's what they were going to say. And they were just going to tell everyone to deal with it. Deal with it. And they called a bunch of pastors, and they were like, hey, by the way, you're going to have to, your congregation's going to get upset because during the morning press briefing, we're going to announce that there's no God and we're all a creation of aliens. I mean, it's like, what are we doing to these people at the end of their lives? Could you think of a worse way to get old than the way you get old now? Is there a worse generation? Is there a worse time? Now, yes, the boomers have all the fucking money. They own these big houses. That's all nice. But they don't have minds anymore. Their minds have disintegrated. They've melted in their heads. I mean, it's unbelievable. And now at the end of their life, while they're frothing in a Facebook rage, wandering around their house, we tell them, by the way, we don't think there's a God or anything. We were created by aliens. That's the last thing they hear before they collapse on their keyboard as they're responding to their sister that they barely speak to. Well, actually, the trans issue is more of an issue than you think it is. It's insane. We are destroyed. Now, you might think it's undignified to go to a nursing home and die there. And it is. But my mother was in one of them and died in one of them. Whatever. This is worse. What we're doing to them now is worse. They're all in big mansions on Facebook, and they're insane. Their kids hate them. This is worse. Yes, nobody wants to go to fucking Shady Acres or whatever the name of that fucking thing. I think maybe that was from The Sopranos. Nobody wants that. Everybody goes, I don't want to go into a home. I'm completely fine. I want to live on my own. And that was the big discussion. The big discussion was like, well, where do you put old people? You put them in these homes? And everybody was like, nobody wanted to go in those homes. And Louis got a great new bit on his special about this, about putting his dad in a place. But the way people are getting old now, where they're just on the internet at whatever age, trying to figure it out and being taken advantage of and bamboozled. And it's coming from all sides and all directions. And they're becoming truly like psychotic. We're inducing psychosis. That's what Mark Zuckerberg's done. He's inducing psychosis into large swaths of the population, but very noticeably in older people that have now all gone insane. And I actually think, by the way, so there's a new study that shows more than 2/3 of children under the age of 2 use screens, some for 8 hours a day. So many 1-year-olds are now on a screen for 8 hours a day. Here's why that's good. Are you ready? Here's why it's good. If we're going to live like this, we got to start them young. They got to be, listen, the people I know who got introduced to Facebook later in their lives no longer speak to their children. They no longer speak to their families. They've had Facebook for 10 years. Their children won't bring the grandkids to the house anymore. That's what happens when you introduce technology late in life. I'm for, if we're going to live like this, and it seems like we are, I'm not commenting on if it's a good thing. I don't think it is, but it doesn't seem like anybody has any investment in changing it.
So here, Tim started to kind of go over it a little bit more and touch on some of the main topics, but he had never said what or where the study came from. So I kind of looked into that a little bit more. So here's the study that Tim was talking about. It says two-thirds of babies watch screens, some for 8 hours a day. A report finds a third of newborns use devices for more than 3 hours, despite government advice that under twos have no screen time at all. Down here it says nearly a third of newborns were found to be watching screens for more than 3 hours a day, while almost 20% of infants of 4 to 11 months use screens for more than an hour a day. The report, and here's where the study came out of, or the research. The report from the 1001 Critical Days Foundation and the iAddict Research Group involved a survey, a focus group, and a literature review to examine the extent and potential impact of infant screen use. In a review of the content research, researchers found evidence linking screen time to poor outcomes for children, including an increased risk of obesity, short-sightedness, sleep, and behavioral difficulties, and later challenges with friendships. The research also revealed why children and parents use screens, with families reporting children doing so for educational purposes, entertainment, play, and to communicate and bond with others. Parents, meanwhile, use screens to occupy or distract children, which helped caregivers to complete domestic duties, paid employment, and other caring responsibilities. So here's a little bit about the 1001 Critical Days Foundation. Um, it says from pregnancy to age 2, the first 1001 critical days, we fund pioneering research, frontline practice, and champion early years around the world to create a lasting impact. And then over here, the iAddict group, which stands for Interdisciplinary Action on Digital Device Immersive Conditions Team. Um, and it says, we discuss and explore societal challenges posed by excessive screen use and recommend how academics might approach providing evidence-based guidance through coordinated multidisciplinary investigations. Our core team is comprised of a diverse group of researchers who have been drawn together based on their shared belief that answers to the big questions concerning screen time lie within multidisciplined approaches that lead towards interdisciplinary analysis and outputs. So every generation, I feel like, says that the next generation or generations behind them are, you know, more retarded, less responsible, or less responsible. Um, I don't know, less social, all these different things. And it turns out that's being backed up by research and evidence, and has been for a while. Um, but it's clear that not only are the middle-aged and older people, or particularly the boomers, the ones being kind of manipulated the most by technology and affected the most, but clearly it's being used on children, or by parents who are, either for convenience or laziness. Either way, there's negative impacts to the amount of screen time and access to technology that kids are having at such younger ages. I mean, to have 4 to 11-month-old kids, on a screen at all seems kind of ridiculous. But for an hour, 3 hours, and then in the study it was saying kids under two were there was kids under two, averaging screen time up to 8 hours. It's like, um, I don't know. That's can't be good. Clearly, it's not good. So that was just something I wanted to kind of cover today, or go over, and just try to put some of that information out there, and like remind people, I guess, to try to resist the screens, or minimize the screen time, because it's definitely not good, um, mentally and even physically. It can affect your sleep and all these other things. So, you know, get off the screen, get outside, and fucking do something. I guess, I don't know.